Hello everyone. So I've come to my favourite little patch in the forest where these trees, they've been worn away by the pond and they make a sort of throne, these oak trees. And yeah, all the knots over there of the roots, so special. I thought, I really want to spend as much time here as possible before I go, and in July I moved to Spain. And so just for posterity's sake, I wanted to have a look through these photographs, because I described in my other video about how I married the universe in 2017 it was. There's a fox just running over there. Yeah, I thought it was another dog, but it was actually a fox, which is amazing here. You always find foxes and deers. Yeah, with the quarantine I have a lot more company in the forest than normal. But yeah, so I wanted to show you my photos from, and just the process of leading up to when I married the universe. Because marrying the universe, I see, was the it put me in the emotional state to be able to find my soulmate, which is something that most people who are interested in my videos are very interested in. So yeah, I started this album with a photo of myself from 2016 when I was still living in London, and I was very political. This is me in Piccadilly Circus in the centre, and I was in full activist mode, just trying to save everything outside of myself, really trying to, just so political. And then I went to Boom Festival to work for 2.5 months, and then this is when the festival actually started, and just seeing what I'd created with 40,000 people underneath it. I was sewing the shade structures, and I was just enamoured. Just finally as well, my heart was opening in a way where I never experienced it before. I was in a new place and nobody knew me, and I was just granted this just like new birth, totally new. And then it was just going back to like experiencing the childhood I never had, just with so much joy and just play. And we stayed in this little house in Portugal, just 1 bedroom, all of us sleeping together on the floor or sleeping outside. The weather was nice. Just so peaceful. In a lovely hot country, so away from England, just seeing that it's possible to have this sun all year round, it does something to your mentality as a northerner. These really beautiful sisters, speaking, not perfect, but we were relating from the heart. We were saying how we actually felt, which was much truer than anything I'd experienced before. And from all over the world, like Australian, Swedish, Portuguese, Norwegian, New Zealand, and me, and just finding the similarity, getting that close to people from all around the world. But as always, my friendship groups was changing because I was always in a different place, and the thing that I found that had to be consistent was myself. But yeah, it was nice to come back to London and have some of that light brought in. But then I was going off to Central America, so before I went, I drove with this friend down to the coast and with the white cliffs of the Seven Sisters, and just setting this intention. Everything was with intention from the heart. That's the biggest thing I want to emphasize. I didn't have any big faith in God. I didn't have any big knowledge about any spiritual stuff. I just was like going with what I felt, as well as a load of new agey stuff, trying to project through my mind. But just really feeling like this is what I felt like I was doing. I was jumping off a cliff into the unknown, so I just kind of felt that way. I just felt the fear that was associated with that. And I flew around the world to Costa Rica, and I was sewing making things for this festival, and yeah, it was an experience. And travelling through Costa Rica and Panama, doing all these ceremonies and opening my heart, opening my body and things, you know, and living in nature and with another, again, like a relatively smaller group of people. This is not a festival, this is just a group of us where we were for a month. Not all of these people, but enough that I could really feel myself in relation to them. And you know, we're naked all the time and we're eating together and just playing. And that's when I discovered human design and just finding out how energy works and finding out how much I love animals and nature. They're just so pure. And that's where I married the universe. Here we go. So here's me with the cows, and I'm thinking, you know, what is the universe? The universe is these leaves. The universe are these cows. The universe are these pineapples. And I was sitting there meditating, and I thought, well, I need to go up to the oldest thing here and ask its permission to marry me. And I went up to this big tree, but all the cows were in front of these trees, and I just kept thinking, oh, I want to get to that tree, but I don't want to disturb the cows. But it started raining, and then all the cows moved, and I had a straight path to the tree. And I stood with this really old tree and just asked it, like, can I marry you, universe? And something, a bug dropped on my hand, and the leaves on the tree all shook, all their water droplets on me, and I thought, okay, I'll accept that. You know, just funny little games, not really understanding what's going on in any intellectual way, but just feeling, just going with the feeling. And I felt accepted, and I felt like, of course, I am allowed to live here. I'm allowed to exist. And it was all a psychological process of accepting myself and deciding that I didn't need to keep chasing after these, you know, this serial monogamy that I'd had going on my whole life. You know, I could actually be with myself, and it was so wonderful, and I felt so connected. Yeah. And all of the people in the group, they were writing music, and wrote a song for me, and were bringing me incense and jewelry, and they had singing bowls, and yeah, so much. I'm dancing with my mosquito net round my head, and it's a party, and it's fun. And I've got the elders saying some words. He said, I didn't know anyone who's married the universe before, but if anyone was going to do it, it would be our Sparky. So there I am, leading this procession going around, and I get to the waterfall, and then I climb up to the top of the waterfall and kind of disappear. And they were all cheering me like she's off to have her conjugal rights with the universe. It was a lot of symbolism in all of this, you know, this notion that you need it to that why is this not relevant as a marriage? You know, why is this is with intention, this is with my heart. And yeah, it was really incredible. And perhaps not many people understood why I did it. My family didn't understand, and that was the thing for me, is realising I didn't need anyone else's acceptance or approval. And I kind of was then set off on a trajectory for the rest of the year of just getting to know the universe, being a newlywed. And I drew this on the plane on the way back from Central America. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. I'm meditating under the waterfall. Yeah, it's just a little journey. Everything's like a psychological journey. Then coming back to England, and then going to Canada, and I healed a lot of stuff with family situations there. And then that was where the state I was in just before I met my soulmate. And you don't have to be perfect, you don't have to know what you're doing, but I had a clear desire within me for truth. Above all else, I wanted to know. I wanted to know about myself, I wanted to understand the world, I wanted to understand... I knew there was so much more that I could know. And it's been that desire and that humility before the fact that the truth is something that is infinite. There are infinite truths you can know about, and it's an unfurling thing. But I just had this sure-heartedness about my desire for truth. And I had a longing for love while I was in Canada towards a soulmate, if he existed, as I said in my other video. And that was all it really took. But it's one of those things that it's so simple, and because it's so simple, most people think that they're not capable, or it's not worth doing. That's the most tragic thing, you know? Or something else is more important, but nothing is more important than truth. When I look back, it just seems like a life wasted when I was getting involved in just trying to project my own idea of truth onto the world, rather than just cleaning my eyes so I could actually see what it really was. Yeah, so I just wanted to go through this with you and with myself as a reminder of how far I've come. And when I go out there to Spain, I'll be making videos showing our caravan where we'll be living, and our life as we start it there. And it's always starting. It's always new. And yeah, I just hope to provide some inspiration through my actual experience that I've had, because it is the most valuable thing. It's direct experience. Yeah. Gorgeous, gorgeous oaks. And the children and the birds and the animals.